Good morning. I love the live we just had. I wanted to come to you guys transparent. This is how I look when I wake up. Okay. So I love the live we had. We answered a bunch of questions. We got some donations. Shout out to the donators. You guys are great. But I wanted to kind of go over what we kind of went over when it comes to the guys and the girls. Remember how I was kind of talking about on live this morning how guys are versus how women are? Okay, let's go over it a little bit more just so you guys, don't have to go back into the live and rewind and stuff. So basically, number one, when a guy isn't contacting you or responding to you, don't think less of yourself. Is it me? Is it my fault? Does he not like me anymore? Has things changed? There's so many case scenarios you can think about first. Let's say you guys were talking and now there's like no contact. There's many reasons for that. Like, let's say somebody's not responding. There's many reasons for that. So I was saying, always think about how people like to impress people. Some people are very calculated. Men in particular are very calculated. They're very strategic. They're very logical beings. Women are emotional. Women can be logical if they want to. They could be both. They could be logical and emotional. But men, they're not really emotional creatures. They're logic based. Yes, can they be in their feelings? Yeah, but they have the power to be out of their feelings and be logical. So men are calculated humans, calculated beings. They usually think of a plan before they execute. Um, that's why a lot of them do manipulate things to their advantage. That's why they sometimes have advantage. However, I will say this. Sometimes when a man really likes you, really, really, really likes you, he doesn't want to mess up with you. He doesn't want to say the wrong things, hurt you, go through a healing phase. He will, if he's grown and he's evolving and he's learning, he will want to make sure he's saying the right things to you at the right timings so that things can go smoothly. And let's say if it's not the right time, he doesn't have his stuff together, he doesn't have the right words, he doesn't have the right amount of money to offer, and let's say he wants to get his shit together, he might take his time to go focus on himself and his, lifestyle. So during that time, you might not hear from him. You might not hear him as much. You might not get a response. That person might put their concentration totally on what they need to master, which is their crafts. That could be a reason, because they want to impress you. If they really like you, they want to come at you correctly. You get what I'm saying? If they really want to execute something with you, they're going to think of a plan to try to have the advantage over the situation so they could, like see things go in their favor. That's why sometimes men don't really allow women to lead them. That's why they stop responding sometimes because women, they will like be emotionally attached and like want to keep on having that dopamine rush. And that's what happens when you start doing that texting back and forth, or when you start seeing someone and you get that dopamine rush, that serotonin rush. It's like an addiction. You start getting happy every time they respond. You start feeling good every time you talk to them, and then you get addicted to that. You get what I'm saying? It's actually developing a really bad pattern, of addiction. So that's developing codependency. So you want to be aware of that as a mature young woman as you evolve and grow and develop your frontal cortex of your brain. Mind you, when you're still young minded, you're still developing your frontal cortex of your brain where you think critically. Sometimes when you're young and immature, you think not as critical. Do impulse. You do things off impulse, what feels good for the moment. You get what I'm saying? And that's why you start expecting that microwave love, where it's like, oh, I put this in here for 2 minutes, it's ready in 2 minutes. No, that's not how real love is generated. So grown, mature love, that's why they're like, wait till you get older and you're more mature and you understand, like, it's oven love. It's not it's not microwave love. It's not air fryer love. It's slow roast. Let's even say crock pot love. Let's even say, what's the slowest way you can cook some meat? Marinate it for 5 days and then slow roast it. Like that's the real love a lot of women are seeking. When a man really falls in love with a woman, it takes years. It's not like, oh, love at first sight. I am in love with her from the first time I seen her. That is infatuation love, and that is actually not realistic love. That is infatuation, crushes, is just your imagination of how you think that person is. But in reality, that's not really how they are. How a person really really is without the layers of masks, without like that's like me coming on here and being transparent. People getting to that transparent place of love where two people are transparent with each other, not love bombing, not over complimenting, just like dealing with each other's, one on one, how they feel about each other, their plans, their values, their goals, their principles, their spiritual beliefs, having real adult, conversations that can last for years and years and years, compatibility, getting along, chemistry, divine connection, all those mature things that, allow a relationship to last a long time, a stable communication schedule, like working together on a team and not arguing all the time and not like batting heads, combating all the time. Yeah, like that takes some time to master. So when you're like in these young minded phases of why is he not responding? Why is she not responding? It's because you have to realize real love is a process, and you have to be able to process emotions, process feelings. All that takes time, and you can't rush it, you can't force it, you can't keep questioning it and wondering why this is, and you have to literally have a fulfilled life, a fulfilled lifestyle. That means you have developed hobbies, activities, jobs, crafts, um, passions for other things, and really have like a rapport of a lifestyle that you have created that works and fulfills you. And then you meet or you come into contact and harmony with those that are like minded, which is your person, soulmate, twin flame, divine masculine, divine feminine. Those are the grown up, words where it's like, okay, then it's like the partner, the connection, the main man, the main woman, then it's moving on to the fiance or the husband, the wife. You get what I'm saying? So it takes time, and why? Because you have to get to know all these things. You have to get to know yourself. So don't just sit up there and be like, oh, I'm going to cling on to this and this is for dear life. That's not how it's going to work. I remember when I was 15, I had my first boyfriend. My parents allowed it. My parents met him. I met his parents. I thought that man was going to be my husband. We were inseparable. At first, he was all up on me. I was like, no, I don't even like guys. I'm young. And then it took me a whole year to develop some type of love for him. And then after a year, I was like, okay, we could be together. I think I love you. Then we got together. It was official. And that's when my parents were okay with it and everything was fine. And then one night, one thing led to the other. We got physically intimate. And then once we got physically intimate, we were very close. It was like marriage, without the marriage contract. And then it was serious, I was 15, he was 18. And we just felt like this euphoric energy, like, oh, it's just us. We loved each other. We shared everything with each other. We used to change. We used to switch phones with each other. You can have my phone. I can have your phone. Like go over. We used to go over each other's houses. We used to go to other family houses. We would hang out with like parents and family and cousins. And like one day things changed. It started to change little by little. Outside interference. Other females being involved, other males liking me. That's just that. That's how it works when you're in the public eye. We were both kind of in like high school. He was graduating. I was getting in high school. other people start wanting to interfere, and that people start to split away. And we were young. We didn't know nothing about love. Okay. So I remember when I was young, I was like, I was heartbroken. I was just like, dang, we're not going to be together no more. What happened? What went wrong? But I was in high school, so I had other things to focus on, and other guys wanted to be with me when we broke up. Surprisingly, a lot of guys were like waiting in line. So basically, long story short, I didn't know anything. I had to learn from the ground up. It was hard. Me and him still didn't leave each other alone even after we broke up. We were on and off for years. Like, on and off for years. But we were not meant to be together. We weren't compatible. We had our little moments, but it wasn't what it was. You get what I'm saying? And I started to date other people. I had next boyfriend, next situation, like I was learning and like I was growing through everything, but I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I was not fully developed at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You get what I'm saying? And when I stopped dating at 21, I started really realizing, like, okay, I had enough. From 15 to 21, I've dated enough. I've experienced what it's like to get pregnant. I've experienced what it's like to live with a guy. I've experienced what it's like to love, to feel this way, to depend. Now I'm independent. You get what I'm saying? So at 21, I became independent. And I was like, I'm going to run a business. I'm going to finish getting my degree. I'm going to focus on me. And that's what happened because I had learned so much. So at 21, I really started like focusing on me again. Ran my business for years and years and years, making money, traveling here, figuring out my career, not really focused on guys, but still going on little dates and being pursued and stuff, but not really taking things too serious. Like now I'm kind of like coasting in life. Like, okay, so I'm like more focused on my career, my education, and healing. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't until I was like 27, 26, I got pregnant again, and I just was like, this is not the guy. It was just guys pursuing me, it was just hard to get away from the guys because it's just like, you're learning through your 20s. So anyways, at that time I was like, you know what? No, I know what I want. Like I don't want this lifestyle. I want this lifestyle. I'm going to go pursue this lifestyle. Even with pursuing more of a different lifestyle, you still run into people. So at the end of the day, I've let love come to me and I've let love flourish over time and like me learn from things. Like, what do I really want in a person? What do I really like? What is love really? Like love is really loving yourself to be 100%. It's not about loving another person, being empathetic, sympathizing. It's really about pouring into yourself, and it's about making sure you're good and you're okay every day, no matter who comes in your life or who leaves your life. So I had to learn that, like be independent, pour into yourself, put yourself first, listen to yourself, learn more about men. Because as I got older, you realize like men are not women. They are totally separate entities and they don't think like us. They don't operate like us. They're totally different. So it's like act like a lady, but think like a man. Men are very calculated, logical, sensitive when it comes to getting hurt. Like they like protect themselves a lot more because they are the protectors. Like they think about things more strategically than women. Women are just like open hearted, wear their heart on their sleeve, emotional, fall in love, be what is the word? They would submit more, you know, um, until you grow, until you learn, like, no, you have a choice. Like, you don't have to do that. You can be stubborn. You can be like, you could say no. You could be like, it's my choice. You could say, like, this is not what I want. This is what I want. You could say what you really feel in a respectful manner and still be respected and get what you want. You get what I'm saying? You can negotiate your love life. That's the development part of becoming a woman and realizing you can be critical. You can look deeper into the guy. You can do more of a background check. You can spend your time a little bit more wisely. You can invest more into yourself. You can make sure the guy is going to, like, be a provider, protector, a prophet towards you. You can make sure you guys have aligned values, aligned shared beliefs, alignment. You get what I'm saying? Because you never want to be unequally yoked. So long story short, instead of just jumping in bed, because we've all done it, jumping in bed and sleeping with a person, it's much more than that. When you actually are together, like on a lot of aspects, it makes everything way much better, way much more easier, way much more smoother. Usually when these problems come up, it's kind of probably because like there's a lot of disalignment, and there's time that needs to like be had where you guys try to see if you can align. And if you don't align, you're gonna realign with somebody else. You get what I'm saying? That's more, in alignment with who you are, So don't even try to force it. Like just go with the flow of life. Figure out who you are, what you believe in, and then you'll see like, oh my gosh, this feels so much better. This is so easier. This is so much smoother. Our communication is just so easier. It's not hard, like so at the end of the day, like I said, men want to impress women. Men want to woo women. Men want to sweep women off their feet. They want to take care of women. They want to provide. They want to be the end all be all. If that man is not doing that or like going in that direction or the conversation's not going in that direction, just pull back a little bit and kind of protect your heart and yourself and let the universe show you. You get what I'm saying? Instead of like trying to grasp it and like force it and question it. Be your divine feminine and be in your energy and like be beautiful, dream, go out there in the world, put yourself out there, have fun, enjoy your life, and be seen and be heard. But like, you don't have to try hard to like be with a man because, men naturally want to be with women. But just understand more and be more critical that it takes time, it takes development, and this information I'm sharing is not to be used against me. This is for educational help, especially when it comes to tarot readings and it comes to like therapy and reading some of you guys' questions. I just wanted to help a little bit. But yeah, like in life, like love yourself always, first and foremost. Never like forget about yourself. And that helps you not settle for less. Like you can become associates with people and buddy with people, but like you have boundaries. You don't let people like get to you, touch you, like once you start getting older, you're gonna be like, oh my god, like I grew out of that. I outgrew that. I have healed. I have evolved from that, and move on. Try not to beat yourself up. Try not to like be hard on yourself. You might go through those moments of like, oh, I don't feel good, but then you can pick yourself right back up. So anyways, that's what I have to say. Enjoy your day. Bye.